What's in a game? Rocket League has been with us for a very long time now. But what is Rocket League? Or perhaps more importantly, where would we be without Rocket League? How has this humble game impacted on society? How will it impact on society in the future? The first recorded instances of Rocket League being played were captured in cave paintings and can be found throughout the fossil record, with some evidence that Rocket League was even played against our Neanderthal neighbours. Some theorise that the eventual extinction of Neanderthals was due to their bloody destruction at the hands of mankind, on account of Neanderthals being the sort of chaps who would unfortunately opt to play Rumble mode 9 times out of 10. Of course, back in olden times, Rocket League was played very differently. Without the means to play the game on computers, early man had to resort to using the power of their minds to psychically move the cars around. Instead of stadiums, all they had were fields of brambles, with a few bones marking out the perimeter of the pitch. And far from the civilized and organized activity we associate with today's Rocket League, the Rocket League of years gone by would often consist of teams of an entire tribe, town, or postcode gang, versus another, with the winner gaining access to a resource, perhaps a hunting grounds, or a yates. Back then, Rocket League could be a brutal affair, with some of the cars wielding sticks or comically oversized boxing gloves, leading to a very serious risk of injury. It wasn't until the English Revolution, when King Charles was executed after having been found to have used a car with infinite boost, that the rules for Rocket League became formalised by Cromwell and the Roundheads, with the rules remaining largely unchanged to this day. Rocket League has persisted over the years as one of the main competitive sports, both today and throughout human history. Matches were held at the Colosseum and at the first ever Olympics, where the winners would be heralded as heroes, and the losers would be put to a brutal but good-natured sportsman-like death. Or worse still, forced to play 3 games in a row against a good clan while only having bots as allies. From the Iron Age to the Modern Age, from Rome to Alexandria, Rocket League has been with us. Rocket League has gifted humanity with some of our most fundamental inventions and pastimes, with Rocket League leading to the invention in the 1970s of the Sphere. For many years overlooked merely as a scoring device in humanity's most popular game, without Rocket League, it is doubtful if humanity would have ever conceived of anything as seemingly redundant as the motor car, also surprisingly adapted from Rocket League, without which it is difficult to imagine our reliance on balloons and shooting people out of giant cannon as a means of mass transport subsiding. Of course, not all of Rocket League's contributions to humanity's history are positive. In the 1940s, the Germans extracted the rocket component used harmlessly up until that point and turned it into a wildly ineffective weapon that would come to be known as the rocket. Thankfully, since World War II, there has been no further uses for rockets in any form. And where would working class tribalism be without football? A game it is impossible to imagine existing without Rocket League. Imagine the cost to society if FIFA executives were not kept safely out of society at large. They could be running your local public services. Then where would you be? In a bad place. That's where. Rocket League today is bigger than ever, with more methods of play than ever before. Since the invention and miniaturization of the computer chip, and the means for everyone on Earth, thanks to our fair economic system, to play Rocket League together online, we've been able to set aside our differences as we have set aside our latent telekinetic powers, and said goodbye to all human conflict. Much of this is due to Rocket League. If it were possible to reach back in time and speak to the creators of Rocket League, picking around in the mud and eating their own excrement, it is impossible to know if they were even capable of language, let alone a proper language like British. But if they spoke a more basic, more limited language, like French for example, then I would say to them thank you. And then on account of them being French and not understanding English, I'd say thank you again, louder and slower, until I felt sufficiently understood. So I think together we can all say thank you to the creators of Rocket League. Thank you for your lovely spheres, your lovely motor vehicles, and for the sake of others, football too.